Have you ever felt a stirring deep within you, an unshakable feeling that life as you know it is on the verge of transformation? Today, I want to talk about a powerful, often subtle phenomenon many of us experience, the signs that God is shifting us to a new season, a new direction, or even a new purpose. God's shifts often come when we least expect them. They can feel disorienting, challenging, even uncomfortable, but they're signs of His divine plan unfolding in our lives. Understanding these signs helps us embrace the shift with faith, confidence, and a sense of anticipation, even in the face of the unknown. Each of us is invited to step up, trust, and move in alignment with God's calling. When God begins to shift us, He often starts by creating a sense of discomfort in our current situation, no matter how familiar or comfortable it once felt. This feeling can be difficult to navigate, especially if we're accustomed to or invested in our routines, jobs, relationships, or surroundings. Suddenly, these things may no longer bring the satisfaction or peace they once did, and we find ourselves unsettled, perhaps even frustrated, without a clear explanation. This sense of unease isn't just about dissatisfaction or boredom, it feels deeper. The things that used to bring us joy, meaning, or fulfillment seem somehow less vibrant. Our routines feel dull, and our accomplishments, which once gave us pride, may even start to feel empty. This isn't simply a phase, it's God's way of helping us release our tight grip on the familiar and begin to open up to new possibilities He has planned. As this discomfort increases, we may try to make adjustments, changing our schedule, taking a break, or even trying new activities. But despite these efforts, the feeling lingers. God uses this restlessness to disrupt our sense of control and our attachment to the familiar. He wants us to understand that there's a bigger divine purpose unfolding, and clinging to the old ways only holds us back from experiencing it. This shift can feel confusing and even overwhelming because it's uncomfortable to feel out of place in your own life. However, this discomfort is a clear sign that God is calling us to something greater, urging us to grow, move forward, and prepare ourselves for a new chapter. Rather than resisting, God is asking us to be open, to listen, and to trust that the unease is a stepping stone to a more fulfilling and meaningful purpose ahead. When God is shifting you, there is often a powerful, almost unshakable urge for change. It's a deep, stirring feeling, one that can be hard to ignore, even if you're not entirely sure what it means. This inner prompting might begin as a small nudge, an idea, or a vision that keeps coming to mind, a subtle restlessness, or a recurring thought that there must be something more waiting for you. Gradually, this feeling grows stronger, becoming an undeniable push, almost as if a voice within you is calling you toward a new direction. This urge for change can come when everything on the surface seems fine. You might have a stable job, a comfortable home, or steady relationships, yet something inside keeps pushing you to reconsider, to explore, to step out. You might wonder if it's just a passing thought or a temporary feeling, but unlike ordinary whims, this stirring doesn't fade, it intensifies. It's as if God is planting seeds of a new vision or a new purpose in your heart, preparing you to embark on a journey that aligns with His greater plan for your life. This calling can feel exhilarating yet terrifying, particularly if it suggests leaving behind something that feels safe and familiar. You might feel a pull to explore a different career path, pursue a passion you've set aside, move to a new place, or make significant changes in your personal life. The stirring isn't always clear, and it might not reveal the full picture, leaving you wondering about the practicalities or the timing. Yet, despite the lack of clarity, there's a feeling of rightness about it that's hard to deny. It feels as though God is saying, I have something more for you, and it's time to take the first step toward it. During this period, you may also notice subtle confirmations around you. The desire for change might be echoed in conversations, books you read, sermons you hear, or even moments in prayer. You start to recognize these as divine nudges, signs that align with the feeling God has placed in your heart. The persistent call for change is not meant to unsettle you, it's meant to inspire and prepare you. It's God's way of moving you closer to His purpose, even if it means leaving behind comfort and familiarity. The more you lean into this prompting, the more you'll find that your faith strengthens, empowering you to step forward and trust that God's hand is guiding you to the next chapter of your life. When God is shifting you, one of the most telling signs is that doors begin to close where you once expected them to open. This experience can be challenging and even confusing, especially when these closed doors seem to block pathways you've put time, energy, and passion into. It may be a job opportunity you were counting on, a project you worked hard to bring to fruition, a relationship you invested in, or plans that seemed certain just a short while ago. Suddenly, what seemed like a clear way forward is blocked, or the results don't align with your efforts, leaving you with a sense of frustration and perhaps even self-doubt. At first, it's natural to question why things aren't working out. You may try to push through, thinking it's just a temporary setback, or assume that with a bit more effort, the door will open. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try, that door remains firmly shut. This isn't a punishment or a sign that you're not capable. It's often God's way of gently redirecting you. He may be closing this particular path because he has something different, even better, planned that aligns more closely with your true purpose. When doors close unexpectedly, it can be difficult to understand, especially if you feel that this path was meant for you or that you've already invested so much into it. However, God sees the bigger picture, one that we may not be able to see in the moment. When doors close, it can also create a sense of space in your life, one that encourages you to pause, reflect, and listen more closely for God's guidance. Closed doors often make us turn to God, seeking his direction and trusting that he will open the right door when the time is right. You may even find that in the waiting period, you begin to notice new doors opening, ones that you might not have considered before, paths that bring you closer to a purpose that feels more fulfilling and aligned with your values and dreams. Closed doors teach us about patience, resilience, and faith, reminding us that even when things don't go according to our plans, God's plan is still unfolding. Each closed door is a redirection rather than an end, and it often leads us to growth, new perspectives, and an understanding that God is preparing us for something different, something that will resonate with our true calling. In the midst of closed doors, God invites us to trust him, reminding us that his purpose is greater than any of the plans we could make on our own. One of the clearest signs that God is shifting you is when you experience an unexplained loss of interest in things you once loved or activities that used to bring you fulfillment. This change can feel unsettling, particularly if those passions or pursuits have been central to your identity or source of joy for a long time. Perhaps it's a career path you've been dedicated to, a hobby that once sparked excitement, or a project you've poured your heart into, where once you felt energized and enthusiastic, you now feel a strange sense of distance or even emptiness. It's not that these things have suddenly lost their value, rather it feels as though something within you has shifted, leaving you disconnected from what once gave you purpose. This change in interest is often God's way of making space within us, preparing us to embrace a new season of life. He might be creating a gentle but persistent sense of detachment from certain roles or activities because he knows they no longer serve the greater purpose he has for us. We may resist, thinking we simply need to try harder or push through, but no matter how much effort we put in, that initial spark is gone. This is not a sign of failure, it's a sign that God may be calling you towards something else. He is nudging you to loosen your grip on the past, to let go of attachments that are holding you back from the growth and new opportunities he wants to bring into your life. When God allows us to lose interest in certain aspects of our lives, it's a reminder that our sense of purpose and fulfillment should ultimately be rooted in him, not in temporary pursuits or achievements. This loss of passion is not necessarily an indication that the thing itself was wrong. It's simply that God has used it to shape and grow you up to this point, and now he wants to move you further. He is inviting you to a higher calling, to explore new directions that will allow you to grow spiritually, emotionally, and personally in ways you may not yet fully understand. This shift in interest can be a time of self-reflection and introspection as you begin to ask God what he is leading you toward. Instead of clinging to what you've always known, you're being called to look forward, to step into the unknown with faith that God has prepared something meaningful and fulfilling on the other side of this transition. In this season of detachment, God is drawing you closer to him, reminding you that your ultimate fulfillment comes from following his lead, even when that means releasing things that once seemed essential. Through this process, he prepares your heart, mind, and spirit for the new paths he has set before you, guiding you with love and wisdom into a future that aligns with his divine purpose. When God is shifting you, one of the signs you may experience is a change in the people around you. Relationships are a central part of our lives, shaping our thoughts, values, and even the directions we choose. During a period of spiritual transformation, you may notice that certain people begin to drift away, or that some relationships no longer feel as meaningful or aligned as they once did. This can feel confusing or even painful, especially if these connections have been close, long-standing, or filled with cherished memories. You might wonder why these people are stepping back just when you feel you need their support. Yet this shift in relationships is often a clear sign that God is preparing you for a new season, one that requires a different type of influence and companionship in your life. At the same time, you may find that new people are entering your life. These individuals might share similar values, be walking similar paths, or provide support and wisdom that resonate with the changes God is stirring within you. These new relationships often feel purposeful, as though they are part of a divine design. You might find yourself drawn to people who encourage you to grow spiritually, who challenge you to be your best self, or who inspire you to pursue goals that align with God's calling. This shift in people around you is God's way of placing the right influences in your life to help you move toward His purpose. When God changes our social circles, He is often helping us release relationships that, while valuable in a past season, might not be meant to accompany us into the next. It's not that these relationships are bad, or that they didn't serve a positive role in our lives. Rather, it's a natural process of transition. People are brought into our lives for different purposes and durations. And as we grow, God sometimes needs us to let go of certain ties so that we can move forward. This can be especially challenging when these relationships have been with family members, old friends, or mentors who played a formative role. But trusting that God has a purpose in these shifts allows us to embrace the change without guilt or regret. Through these relational changes, God is preparing us to become the person He created us to be, surrounded by those who align with His vision for our lives. As we move into new chapters, God sends people who can help us build, encourage, and refine our character in ways that equip us for the journey ahead. The relationships that develop in this new season often come with a sense of peace and authenticity, supporting us as we step into our calling. When you look at the shifts in your relationships through this lens, it becomes easier to trust that God is at work, guiding your connections and bringing people into your life at the right time. Rather than clinging to the past, He invites us to be open to new bonds and friendships that will enrich us spiritually, emotionally, and personally. These relational shifts are God's way of nurturing and strengthening you, surrounding you with the right people to walk alongside you as you enter into the new season He has prepared. Through it all, He remains the constant, guiding you through every change with love and purpose. Another powerful sign that God is shifting you is a strong sense of unease when you find yourself out of alignment with His calling. This feeling isn't just a passing discomfort, it's a deep, almost undeniable inner conviction that certain environments, habits, or choices no longer fit with the person God is calling you to become. You might feel this misalignment when engaging in certain activities, spending time in particular places, or even in your interactions with others. The things that once felt normal or enjoyable now seem to disrupt your peace, leaving you unsettled or even weighed down. This shift in your spirit is God's way of signaling that He wants you to move closer to Him, to make choices that reflect the new direction He's leading you toward. This conviction can manifest as a restlessness that pushes you to reconsider areas of your life you may have overlooked or taken for granted. You might start questioning habits or routines that you once thought were harmless or productive, but now feel out of place. Perhaps certain social settings that used to bring excitement now feel hollow, or conversations that once seemed casual now make you uneasy. This discomfort is God's gentle nudge, urging you to pay attention, to step away from anything that distracts or detracts from His plan for you. It's a reminder that growth often requires a shedding of old patterns and an openness to transformation. The sense of unease might also be a sign that God is calling you to raise your standards and live in a way that reflects His values. You may feel compelled to let go of behaviors or associations that no longer resonate with your evolving identity. It's not about judgment or guilt, rather, it's an invitation to honor the person God is creating within you. The discomfort you feel when you step out of alignment with God's purpose is a sign of spiritual maturity. It reflects a heightened awareness of God's presence in your life and a desire to live in a way that honors that presence. The more attuned you become to God's direction, the more you recognize when something is leading you away from it. In this period, God is encouraging you to be intentional about your choices, to pursue relationships, environments, and habits that nurture your spirit and bring you closer to Him. This may mean making difficult decisions, like stepping back from certain relationships or activities, even if they've been part of your life for a long time. But as you begin to release these elements, you'll find that God replaces them with peace, clarity, and a stronger sense of purpose. This alignment process isn't about perfection, it's about walking in harmony with the calling God has placed on your heart. Each choice to step away from what no longer aligns with his plan brings you closer to the abundant life he wants you to experience. It's an ongoing journey of listening to that inner guidance, trusting that each step toward alignment brings you one step closer to fulfilling God's purpose. Through this process, God is shaping and refining you, drawing you into a life that reflects his love, wisdom, and grace, allowing you to live fully in the calling he has prepared for you. When God is shifting you, you may notice an increased focus on personal or spiritual growth. This shift in focus isn't just about self-improvement, it's a deeper calling to strengthen your relationship with God, grow in wisdom, and become more aligned with his purpose for you. Suddenly, you might feel an intense pull toward activities, disciplines, or practices that nurture your soul. Things like prayer, meditation, reading scripture, or studying teachings that resonate with your spirit begin to hold greater appeal. What may have once felt like routine spiritual practices now carry a new weight, purpose, and a sense of fulfillment that you hadn't experienced before. This is God's way of preparing you from the inside out, making sure your heart, mind, and spirit are ready to step into the new season he has planned. As this focus on growth intensifies, you might feel called to spend more time alone in prayer or reflecting on your life and purpose. You may find yourself drawn to resources, books, sermons, podcasts, or spiritual mentors that challenge you to dig deeper into your faith and examine your beliefs, values, and goals. These moments of learning and reflection are not accidental, they are divinely orchestrated to equip you for the journey ahead. In this season, God is working to develop qualities within you like patience, resilience, empathy, and faith, preparing you to handle the responsibilities and blessings that come with the shift he is leading you into. This season of growth often includes a heightened self-awareness. You may find yourself examining parts of your character or life that you hadn't thought much about before. Perhaps you notice areas where you need to grow in humility, let go of pride, or work on forgiveness. Or maybe you realize that certain habits, thought patterns, or emotional responses aren't serving you anymore. This introspection can be challenging, as it might reveal parts of yourself that need healing or transformation. However, God is guiding you through this process with love, showing you these areas not to condemn but to free you. He is inviting you to release anything that could hinder the purpose he has for you, making space for his wisdom and strength to take root. Another key aspect of this focus on growth is the desire to live with more intention and authenticity. As you grow spiritually, you start craving a life that reflects the person God is shaping you to be. Superficial pursuits may lose their appeal, and you may find yourself more interested in activities that carry genuine meaning and purpose. This new focus often leads to shifts in priorities as you feel called to invest in things that foster a deeper connection with God and align with his values. This might mean dedicating more time to family, community service, or creative expressions that resonate with your faith. As you embrace this call to grow, you may also experience moments of doubt or resistance. Growth is rarely easy, and there will be times when the process feels uncomfortable or even discouraging. You might wonder if you're making progress or if you're capable of becoming the person God wants you to be. But remember that growth is a gradual journey, not an overnight transformation. God is patient, and he is guiding you step by step, helping you build a foundation of character and faith that will sustain you in the next season of your life. This period of personal and spiritual growth is a gift from God, a chance to deepen your understanding, strengthen your faith, and become the person he created you to be. By embracing this focus on growth, you're not only preparing for the shift ahead, you're laying down the roots of a meaningful, purpose-filled life. God is drawing you closer, aligning you with his purpose and filling you with a sense of peace, confidence, and clarity that will carry you through any challenges you may face. This journey is as much about becoming as it is about doing. And in this time of growth, God is refining and equipping you for the greater plans he has prepared. Plans that will bring fulfillment, impact, and lasting joy. When God is shifting you, a sign you might notice is an increase in spiritual attacks or resistance. This resistance can manifest in various forms, from unexpected setbacks, conflicts, or discouragement to self-doubt and even fear. These challenges often arise at critical moments, just when you're about to step into a new phase of purpose or deepen your spiritual connection. When you're close to a breakthrough or a season of growth, the opposition can feel particularly intense, as if forces are working to keep you from moving forward. Spiritual attacks are unsettling and can lead to questioning your path, your capabilities, and even your worth. But it's important to remember that these challenges are often an indication that you're on the right path, moving closer to the purpose God has prepared for you. This resistance is not a sign that you're failing or that God has left you. Rather, it's evidence of the significance of the shift He is leading you toward. When we are aligned with God's purpose, forces that oppose that purpose often seek to discourage or derail us. The enemy may use doubt, fear, and confusion to make you question if you're capable or worthy of stepping into what God has planned. You might face inner battles where feelings of inadequacy or guilt creep in, tempting you to give up on your calling before you even fully step into it. These spiritual attacks can be relentless, testing your strength, resilience, and faith. However, this season of resistance is a time when God draws even closer, providing you with the spiritual armor needed to overcome the challenges and build greater reliance on Him. In these times of spiritual resistance, God often strengthens our faith by encouraging us to rely on His Word, His promises, and His presence. This is when the power of prayer, scripture, and community becomes especially vital. Engaging in prayer grounds you in God's strength and reminds you that you are not facing these challenges alone. Meditating on scripture that speaks of God's protection and guidance can offer peace and courage, helping you to see beyond the immediate struggles. Often, God will lead you to specific verses or messages that bring reassurance and clarity during difficult times, reminding you of His unshakable presence and the victory He has already secured. Another critical support during spiritual attacks is your community, trusted friends, family, or mentors who share your faith. Having people around who can pray with you, offer encouragement, and provide perspective can make all the difference. These people often serve as God's hands and voice, providing comfort and reminding you of the strength and resilience you have in Christ. As challenging as it may be, this period of resistance is an opportunity for growth. Through facing and overcoming spiritual attacks, your faith deepens and you become more resilient. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, fortifying your spirit and preparing you to handle the responsibilities and blessings that come with the shift God is guiding you toward. This resistance serves to refine you, helping you to trust God more fully, depend on His guidance, and find strength in His promises. Every obstacle overcome is a testament to God's power working within you, strengthening your character and equipping you for the next level of your journey. While spiritual attacks can be disheartening, they ultimately remind you that God's purpose for you is significant and worth fighting for. By leaning into faith, standing on God's promises, and relying on the support of a strong faith community, you find the courage to persevere. God is with you every step of the way, turning what the enemy intended for harm into a testimony of His strength and love. Through these experiences, you emerge stronger, more confident, and better prepared to walk in the purpose God has designed for you, knowing that no obstacle can prevent what He has planned from coming to fruition. When God is shifting you, you might notice an unexplainable increase in peace and clarity, even in situations that once brought you stress, doubt, or confusion. This peace is not simply a temporary feeling of calm, it's a profound, enduring sense of well-being that grounds you regardless of the circumstances around you. This clarity doesn't mean you have all the answers, but rather that you feel guided, assured, and secure, knowing that you're on the right path. When God is preparing you for something new, He often blesses you with a supernatural peace that surpasses human understanding, allowing you to face challenges, transitions, and uncertainties with confidence and calmness that defies logic. This peace is a gift from God, an inner assurance that reassures you even when life appears chaotic or unpredictable. You may find that certain situations or decisions that once caused you anxiety now leave you unfazed. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by possibilities or responsibilities, you have a growing trust that God is in control and that you are being led in the right direction. This peace does not mean that everything around you is perfect or that you're free from difficulties. Rather, it's a peace that coexists with the unknown and provides strength to endure whatever lies ahead. It's a sign of spiritual maturity, a reminder that your trust in God's plan outweighs the need to understand every detail. Clarity often accompanies this sense of peace, giving you a renewed focus on what matters most. Decisions that may have once felt burdensome or confusing suddenly seem clear, and distractions that previously pulled you off course lose their appeal. You may find it easier to identify what aligns with your purpose and what doesn't, allowing you to make choices that reflect your true values and priorities. This clarity isn't always about knowing the final destination, rather. It's about understanding the next step, trusting that each decision is moving you closer to the place God has prepared for you. This sense of direction allows you to let go of unnecessary worries and embrace the journey with greater confidence and purpose. Another way this peace manifests is in your ability to release control and trust in God's timing. Instead of feeling pressured to make everything happen immediately or figure out every detail, you begin to rest in the assurance that God is orchestrating things on your behalf. You trust that even delays, obstacles, and setbacks serve a purpose in His plan, and you become more willing to wait patiently for the doors He will open. This patience and surrender bring a deep, abiding peace that frees you from the stress of trying to make everything happen on your own. In this way, God is teaching you to rely on Him fully, to let go of the need to control, and to experience the joy of trusting in His faithfulness. This peace also gives you resilience in the face of adversity. Even when things don't go as planned or when challenges arise, you are anchored by a calm assurance that God is with you. You're less likely to react with panic or fear, and more able to respond with faith and a positive outlook. This strength becomes a light not only for yourself but for others as well, as people around you notice your calm and are inspired by it. This peace serves as a powerful testimony to God's presence in your life, showing that His grace is sustaining you through whatever you face. In this season, God is using peace and clarity as tools to prepare you for the next phase of your journey. He is reminding you that His presence is with you, guiding you, even when things aren't entirely clear. This peace is a sign that you are aligned with His will, and it provides the courage needed to take the steps He's placed before you. By resting in His peace and trusting in His guidance, you grow closer to God, discovering a level of faith, trust, and resilience that will sustain you as you step into the new opportunities, roles, or callings He has in store. Through this process, God is not only shifting you, but also equipping you with a strong foundation of peace that will remain with you, allowing you to navigate future challenges with grace and confidence. This peace becomes a cornerstone of your faith, a reminder that with God you are able to face anything, knowing that His plans are greater and His presence unshakable. When God is shifting you, a powerful sign is the growing desire within you to serve or contribute to something greater than yourself. This call to serve may come as an inner stirring, an overwhelming sense that your life's purpose is connected to making a difference in the lives of others or in the world around you. You may feel deeply moved to help those in need, to become a voice for those who are overlooked, or to take on responsibilities that allow you to contribute meaningfully to your community or faith group. This desire to serve often comes at a time when you're becoming more attuned to God's voice and His calling on your life. It is a sign that God is opening your eyes to the bigger picture, helping you understand that your life is not only about personal fulfillment, but also about fulfilling His greater purpose for you. This urge to serve can be all-encompassing, influencing your decisions and shifting your priorities. You may find yourself feeling compelled to get involved in volunteer work, charity, mission trips, or other forms of service that allow you to give back to others. What once seemed like an obligation or something you did out of routine may now feel like a calling that fills you with purpose and joy. The shift from seeking personal success or achievement to seeking opportunities to serve can be deeply fulfilling and transformative, as you realize that giving to others often brings a deeper sense of satisfaction and meaning than pursuing your own ambitions. In addition to external service, God may also be calling you to serve in a more personal or relational way. You might begin to feel a stronger desire to love and serve your family, your friends, and your neighbors in practical ways. Perhaps you are called to mentor someone, to support a loved one in their struggles, or to create a space where others feel seen and valued. These acts of service may seem small in the grand scheme of things, but they are significant in God's eyes. Each time you choose to serve with a heart of love, you align yourself more closely with God's heart, reflecting His selflessness and care for others. As you embrace this calling to serve, you may encounter new challenges, obstacles, or sacrifices. Serving others often requires humility, patience, and a willingness to put the needs of others before your own. There may be times when the work feels overwhelming, when you question whether your efforts are making any real difference, or when you wonder if you're equipped to handle the responsibility. But in these moments, God is growing your character, teaching you to rely on His strength, grace, and guidance. Serving others is a process of transformation, not just for those you serve, but also for you. Through service, you develop a heart more like God's, learning to love unconditionally, forgive freely, and act with compassion. This call to serve is also an indication that God is shifting your perspective, moving you from self-centeredness to God-centeredness to God-centeredness. When your focus shifts from your own desires to the needs of others, you begin to see the world through God's eyes. This expanded vision allows you to become more attuned to the struggles, joys, and needs of those around you. You may find yourself more sensitive to injustices, more compassionate toward those who are hurting, and more eager to take action to help those in need. As you step into the role of a servant, God uses you as a vessel to extend His love and care to others, and in doing so, He deepens your relationship with Him. God's call to serve is also a call to become more fully aligned with His mission on earth. Jesus Himself came to serve, not to be served, and in following His example, you take part in the work He began. This desire to serve is not just about doing good deeds or fulfilling a need. It's about partnering with God in His ongoing work of redemption, healing, and restoration in the world. As God shifts your heart and opens your eyes to the ways He is at work, you're invited to be an active participant in bringing His love and light into dark places, touching lives with the transformative power of His grace. Ultimately, the desire to serve others is a reminder that God is shifting your life in a direction that is in alignment with His eternal purpose. As you step into this calling, you will experience the joy of being part of something much bigger than yourself, and the fulfillment of knowing that your life is making a lasting impact in the lives of others. In serving others, you are not only following God's example, but also drawing closer to Him, discovering the depth of His love and experiencing the profound purpose that comes from living a life of service. God's shift in your life is not just about where He is taking you, but also about how He is changing you in the process, molding you into the person He created you to be: a servant, a vessel of His love, and an agent of His kingdom.